Welcome back to Native Creations. Today's video is about basic heart health. In this video, I will be providing important information that is crucial for heart health. Although my main focus will be about the heart, the lungs and kidneys will also be discussed in the video, as all three organs control each other. The human body functions as a whole unit when its organ systems are functioning at peak by being in balance with one another. Illness and disease are never isolated events that just happen on their own. So when repairing health, it's important to include all of the organs in the repair process, as this technique reveals the root cause of a disease or an illness. When you focus on one area of repairing health, you begin to band-aid the problem because the remedies you incorporate into your repair process provide little to no help at all. The topics I will cover in this video will be about the negative impacts on the heart from unhealthy lungs and unhealthy kidneys, the dangerous outcomes of overworking a weak heart, the role of exercise for individuals with heart issues. This includes the athletic heart syndrome, and of course, the digestive system. In my health protocols, I always strongly urge individuals to refrain from eating fruits, carbs, sugars, or starches before 11 a.m. or after 5 p.m., as the pancreas is not able to regulate sugars during this time. This is because the pancreas has not been fully regenerated prior to 11 a.m. People who are age 50 and older, regardless of their health status, lose 60% of their pancreatic functioning enzymes, which makes it even more detrimental to be consuming large amounts of sugars. The enzymes must be supplied to the body manually. Unless a person is going to actively burn off sugar in the morning within 30 minutes after its consumption, the sugar will be left to float in the bloodstream and will damage the pancreas long term. Synthetic sugars suppresses the immune system for up to 2 hours after it has been consumed. Pancreatic secretions are between 7.8 and 8.3, which is alkaline. This is another reason why I always encourage you to eat your meals compatibly. This means never combining a protein food with a starch food together on one meal, because it forces the pancreas to work extra hard and confuses the breakdown process in the body, and in the long run will burn up your pancreas. Too much sugar floating in the bloodstream can harden the arteries. The exocrine part of the pancreas produces enzymes, which are needed to break down sugars and starches. The endocrine part of the pancreas produces insulin to regulate the sugar. When you are dealing with a diabetic issue and you have type 2 diabetes, you must find out if you are borderline diabetic, or if you are insulin resistant or have a sensitivity to insulin. A large part of society remains misinformed about health. And so before I continue on with this video, I wanted to include some awareness about health. And I primarily focus on the colon because I am a digestive health expert. And the colon is one of the 7 channels of elimination in the body. Each part of the colon corresponds to all of the organs in the body. The colon is about 5 feet long and is composed of 5 segments: the cecum, ascending, transverse, descending, and sigmoid. The pH of the colon is neutral. The colon receives and removes waste from the body and filters the blood. 80% of your body's immune system cells are located in the colon, primarily in the transverse section. So when we talk about food being stagnated, the transverse part of the colon is where the food is stuck. And a lot of the food finds its way into the hepatic flexure, which corresponds to your liver. And this is where the liver begins to become damaged, and it will in turn affect the lungs, the gallbladder, and even the pancreas. So when I speak about proper elimination, I'm also talking about not just the colon, but all the other channels of elimination, like your skin, your liver, your lungs, your kidneys, things like that. Your entire channels of your body that eliminate waste have to routinely, throughout the year, be cleansed, be given a chance to rest, so that they can fully heal each year as you continue to age. The importance of not combining proteins and starches together is because proteins digest in the stomach, where starches digest in the small intestines. When you eat the two of them together, the body doesn't know which one to work on first. And so each food, the protein and starch, will just sit and it will begin to ferment. And whichever one ferments first and is able to move, it will move. But by that time, there's so much acidity and fermentation that has taken place that there has been room for bacteria and parasites to form and start to take over the good gut flora in your digestive system. And then this is what creates the onset of diseases. There are many types of parasites that form in your gut. And as I've spoken before about the Helicobacter pylori parasite, which does not need oxygen to live, and it produces a cancer causing secretion, a substance that will give you cancer in your digestive system. The roundworm can find its way into your brain and create tumors and give you cancer there. So I focus on the digestive system because it is so important for the health of your body. All diseases and illnesses start in your gut. What you put into your body is going to dictate the health of your body. When you're talking about health, or you're trying to understand health, you need to understand pH. pH stands for the potential of hydrogen, and it is a scale range of 0 to 14, and this is how hydrogen is measured. A pH of 7 is neutral, 0 to 6.9 is acidic, and 7.1 to 14 is alkaline. Food is evaluated by the amount of hydrogen ion activity it possesses. Ions or atoms or molecules that carry electrical charges when an electron is gained or lost. The pH scale is sometimes represented by certain colors. So when we talk about food and when you consume it, you must understand the pH of food as well as your organs. Our bodies are mostly composed of water, and as I just said to you a while ago, water is neutral, so it's best for our bodies to allow the cells to bathe in water, to have the cells remain alkaline at their intracellular level. This is what facilitates good health. So understanding the pH of food and your organs is beneficial for your health. Disease and illnesses are not genetically passed down, but are the results of being genetically predisposed. If the body is functioning at peak, then the blood, the organ and cells, the bones and teeth are going to be replaced in good health. Things like blood transfusions, hip replacements, amputations, surgeries would rarely exist and only be used as a last result. We do not grow old and become sick. We are growing sick by the time we become old. 90% of diseases manifest and originate from an unhealthy colon. So people are okay with expecting to be sick when they reach a certain age. That's been normalized in society, and that is so abnormal. Age doesn't make you sick. You begin to be sick well before you become old. So I think that people find a way to continue eating unhealthy meals or doing unhealthy health practices with their body or their overall lifestyle because they think that since we all age, we're all going to be sick. And that's so untrue. You want to live a life of knowledge and not that of ignorance. And yes, we will all die, but if we're teaching young people to get educations and learn trades and develop talents and achieve our dreams, then we should also teach them that when you die, you want to die in knowledge and not in ignorance. And of course, along with understanding health, you want to understand nutrition, as I just said. The body absorbs nutrients from food. The body eliminates waste because it cannot use it. The inability for the body to eliminate forces the body to begin storing the waste, which creates fermentation and acidosis. Nutrients are found in foods that contain live enzymes. These foods contain their own digestive system, which enhances the body's digestive system. That is the role of enzymes in foods. Live enzymes in food is like a special miniature digestive system for that food. So when you eat it, your body can process it much easier. Clean eating is when compatible foods are consumed at the right time of day. And again, you should never eat a protein with a starch. During this time of year, we can also see that people become further misinformed about health during the times when they are watching TV at home, either by themselves or with loved ones. Around this time, pretty much most people are watching football, but if you look at the football channels, the ads and commercials that are shown promote dead food. Food that is greasy or fried, food that has been charred, food that contains nitrates, beverages that are alcoholic in nature, foods that have a lot of dairy from cows in it, or a lot of milk or coffee beverages, food such as sodas and drinks. And while these things are being shown, the person receiving the message that's watching the TV subliminally begins to think that you can be physically active but eat whatever you want. Doesn't matter if it's healthy or unhealthy. Doesn't matter if it's French fries or chips or pizza. As long as you're able to go outside and perform a physical activity, that nutrition doesn't matter. In fact, most of society tends to think that disease and illnesses are not the result of poor nutrition or poor diets, when in fact that is the thing that creates this health crisis of people being sick. We also can see that recently, with the world experiencing the pandemic, again, there were still a lot of promotional TV shows or media sources showing food that is unhealthy. Most of the food that is shown on TV, again, is dead food. A living system of organs, such as the human body, requires living real food, not food that is dead. And because people have been able to live into their 80s or 90s, they did not have full use of their body. And so that's no excuse to continue eating poorly just because you may or may not be able to live until you reach the age of 80 or older. It doesn't matter what stage you are at in life as an adult, you should be able to perform the same functions and duties and physical activity in your 80s or 90s that you did when you were in your 20s. So again, nutrition is key. Exercise is a part of nutrition. It falls within the scope of diet and health, but it is not the only thing that you should focus on, and it should not be weighed higher over nutrition. In order for a person to be able to perform physical activities, they need to have organs that are functioning properly, organs that are supplied with nutrients, organs that are clean, organs that are healthy. And so, because we know that there have been so many diets throughout the years, all of them have proven to be insufficient for health, because diabetes and cancer and heart disease are still on the rise even in recent years. So obviously there is a misinformation of health, proper health, circulating within society, and people are suffering as a result. Physical fitness refers to the ability of your body systems working together efficiently to allow you to be healthy and perform activities of daily living with the least amount of effort. So when you are providing movement for your body as in exercising, you are moving your organs. These organs will be of a certain condition, such as healthy, weak, borderline unhealthy, non-responsive, or some organs may have been surgically removed, depending on who you are. The condition of your organs will dictate what type of fitness regimen you perform and how often you perform it. Before beginning any fitness regimen, your body should be supplied with proper nutrition, as in compatible meals, so that your organs can respond positively to the physical activity your body receives. Exercise is something your body earns after consuming proper nutrition to build up your organs. Exercise is not a fix-all solution for poor health, nor is it key. It is important to have physical activity in your life because it is a part of optimal health, but it is not the single most focus of health. So I want to keep stressing the fact that exercise is a part of the grand scheme of health, but it is not the single most important thing of health. Nutrition is far more important than exercising. You need both of them, but nutrition is going to take you way further in life than just relying solely on exercising. And I mentioned the different conditions that a person's organs will be in the previous slide, because that will dictate what you can do as far as physical activity. And when you are building up weak organs, you can incorporate exercise, but a light to moderate type of fitness regimen, and slowly build up to something more strenuous, something that is more rigorous as far as physical activity is concerned. But you will do severe damage that can lead to death if you try to incorporate, for instance, something like HIIT cardio with a person who has a weak heart. That person's heart will collapse. So and a lot of physical fitness trainers know these things, and they know that if they were to just only focus on exercising, that they could be sued if someone did collapse or die because they were not given the correct exercise protocol that is conducive to their health, to a person's health. So we have to understand that balance is key when it comes to health. And you have to really, really understand the organs in order to understand exercising. So there are two types of fitness training. You have aerobics, which is when the body produces energy with the use of oxygen or with air during physical activity that lasts longer than 2 minutes in duration. Then you have your anaerobics, which is when the body produces energy without oxygen or without air. And it's usually physical activity that is performed at a high intensity. This activity can be performed by the ATP-CP system, which provides immediate energy, or by the lactic acid system, which can last anywhere from 10 to 120 minutes in duration. So someone who has weak or failing organs, in the case that we're discussing today, the heart, you definitely would not want to incorporate anaerobics into their fitness regimen. You want to lean towards the aerobics, but in a light to moderate type of intensity level. So for this segment of the video, I wanted to include some people that were athletes and one person who was not an athlete, but they were involved in exercise, physical fitness for most of their lives and ended up losing their lives to heart illnesses. And so I just wanted to, again, reinforce the importance of learning to balance your health with nutrition and exercise. And it's going to be different for every person. It's going to take longer for one person to achieve a certain health status than it takes someone else. And then for one person, they may be limited in what they can do, as in physical fitness, where in someone else, they are not limited. So it just depends on the person. Exercise is a very broad term because it can refer to many things that involve movement. Most people are sexually active, and so that is a form of physical activity, yet many people have also lost their lives during the duration of performing sexual activity, or they've lost their lives immediately after. So again, nutrition is key. Reggie Lewis was a professional basketball player for the Boston Celtics. At age 27, he lost his life to dilated cardiomyopathy with extensive myocardial scarring, and this was in 1993. Hank Gathers was a college basketball player who died from sudden cardiac arrest. Wes Leonard, a 16-year-old basketball player for the Fenville High School in Michigan. He was a standout athlete and a 3-year starter in basketball and football. He died on March 3rd of 2011 from dilated cardiomyopathy and viral myocarditis. So he was very, very young. His organs were, pretty much still fresh and new, but he lost his life to a heart illness. And with children or even teenagers and, toddlers and things like that, they are more resilient. Their organs are newer than an adult or someone who's older. So their bodies are able to bounce back in a sense much quicker than someone who is older. But as you can see here, again, it just depends on the person's diet, because he was only 16 years old and he died from something so severe such as a heart illness. Flo Hyman, a world-class professional volleyball player and silver medalist for the United States in the 1984 Olympics at the age of 31, died from aortic dissection. And she also was undiagnosed with Marfan syndrome, which is something that affects the heart, the eyes, blood vessels, and bones. So she had a syndrome that was existing but it wasn't diagnosed during the time that she was alive. And so that, along with the other heart problem, resulted in her losing her life. Jim Fixx was an author of the New York Times best-selling book, The Complete Book of Running. He advocated that people would not suffer heart attacks if they were non-smokers and exercised. So that's what his book was about. He was, again, one of those people that just pretty much relied heavily on the use of exercising and not so much nutrition. Prior to embarking on a fitness journey, he was a heavy smoker and weighed over 220 pounds. And he did have a history of myocardial infarctions. He was able to lose between 60 and 70 pounds, and he did end up quit smoking. But one day, while he was just doing a daily run, he died from a fatal heart attack at the age of 52. And this was in the summer of 1984. So that just goes to show you that small handpicked number of individuals that I just spoke about. There are many others that have lost their lives to heart illnesses or heart diseases. And so some of them are athletes and some of them are not athletes. But again, you have to be careful when it comes to the heart and exercise, because it is a dangerous thing. It kind of pretty much just like almost creeps up on you when it happens. So exercise does play an important role within the scope of optimal health, and it is responsible for the maintenance of good health, and it reinforces strength and tonification of organs. In order for a person's body to properly respond to exercise, the organs must have already been provided with specialized health protocols with the use of clean, whole foods and plant herbs. The body needs energy to exercise, to sleep, and to even eliminate waste. And this energy can only come from the raw materials that are found in plant herbs. Exercise by itself is not the key to optimal health. There are commonalities in people who are suffering from illness and disease. The first is attempting to obtain good health without fasting and/or cleansing the body to remove toxic waste. Consuming toxic substances for toxic diseases. Trying to receive nutrition from incompatible meals that contain dead food. And the inability to exercise due to malnourished organs and blood. So if the whole issue were only about exercise, these things that are on the screen would not be existing, because you can go in a hospital or a nursing home, go into hospice, or go around to someone who is bedridden in their home, and each person is trying to become well, but they're all doing the same things, and this is why they're not getting well. And so nutrition, again, is the key to proper health. Someone with cancer is not able to do any physical activity because their organs and their blood is so weak. They cannot begin to do any physical activity until those organs are strengthened. But all exercise is going to do, once they are able to exercise, is reinforce what they're already doing. So now that you have heard some precursors to what creates the onset of poor or failing health, we are going to learn about the ways that the lungs and kidneys can negatively affect the heart if they are not working as they should, as in good health. As I mentioned, that there are channels of elimination in the body, and the kidneys and the lungs are two of those channels of elimination. and the lungs are getting rid of carbon dioxide, and it is a byproduct of the process of cell respiration, as is water. Within this process, energy is produced in the mitochondria of cells. Both oxygen and glucose are required for this process. Glucose contains carbon, and this is where carbon dioxide comes from. So on the chart here, you can see that glucose plus oxygen equals water, energy, and carbon dioxide. If this process does not take place, then the cells begin to die off. So some basic functions of the lungs are to pick up oxygen and expel the carbon dioxide, to provide proper vaporization, give respiration and good circulation, to work with the circulatory system, and again, remove waste constantly 24 hours daily. If you have a lung issue, there are 4 types of lung conditions that you should further research so that you can apply the right technique or repair process to facilitate you finding relief from your lung condition. So you could have a cold and damp lung, a cold and dry, a hot and damp, or a hot and dry lung condition. So depending on which one that you have, that will tell you what herbs you can use to rectify the problem. Also, glutathione is made by the liver and is the most abundant antioxidant, which can repair lung tissue. So the liver is a part of the digestive system, and it performs over 500 functions in the body. And when people are eating incompatible meals, that waste from food becomes stagnated in the transverse part of their colon and is able to find its way through the hepatic flexure and affects the liver. Anything that affects the liver is going to affect the lungs and vice versa. The lungs are considered a tender organ because of their location. So they readily receive anything from the outside world much easier because of where they are located and by their functions that they perform. So the liver is something that you want to have working at peak at all times, because that is going to have a lot to do with the overall health of not just your lungs, but also your heart. Carbon dioxide is dissolved in the blood and carried to the lungs by circulation and breathed out. So when a person who has a heart issue has troubles with their blood being filled with toxins, the blood is stagnated and the circulatory process is impaired, thus preventing the normal function of the lungs to be able to expel carbon dioxide. Exercise is the last phase of assisting in the repair of health. We are only to inhale 21% of oxygen daily, but since so many diets advocate the consumption of carbs, we inhale more oxygen than we should, along with glucose not being able to be oxidized to give off carbon dioxide so that it can be excreted through the lungs and through the water as in sweat. The water of the body is sweat or the lymphatic fluids. So that is one thing you must understand on the physical anatomy part of the body. It's not all about exercise, it's about the health of your lungs first. The kidneys are important for heart health, and they are, again, like the lungs, a channel of elimination. The liver is responsible for converting fat solubles into water solubles and later sends this water to the kidneys to be made into urine. If this process does not happen, then protein will be left in the urine. This is because cholesterol is made of lipids and proteins. LDL, as in low density lipoprotein, carries cholesterol to the arteries, and HDL, as in high density lipoprotein, carries fats to the liver to be excreted via the kidneys and bladder. So your HDL and your LDL LDL are proteins that carry cholesterol. The kidneys are a water element in the body and must receive rich oxygenated blood from the heart in order to be able to push water or to make urine. A weak heart is congestive heart failure and means that the heart is not able to properly pump blood through the vessel walls or pump blood properly that is healthy. This creates the retention of water in the kidneys or the entire body and causing water to build up in the heart, which is considered cardiac edema, or the water can build up in the lungs, which is pneumonia. Again, exercise should not be the main focus in repairing one's health of someone who is suffering or dealing with a heart or with a lung issue. So on the chart, I have listed that the heart is a organ muscle, one that I call the hot or the fire organ of the body, and all it does is pump blood throughout the body. A healthy person's heart pumps blood about 1,960 gallons daily, which is about 15 pints or 6 quarts. The blood is supposed to be circulating in the body 9 times per minute. New blood is available every 90 days based on your diet. So if you're eating a poor diet, you're going to create, poor blood. If you're eating a good diet, you're going to create good, rich blood. Magnesium is found in the heart. Most people are deficient in magnesium, which is a mineral, and it is able to move things throughout the body. So if a person is deficient in magnesium, they are going to develop or can develop heart issues at some point in their life. Magnesium needs to come from plant herbal sources, and it should be in liquid form. Magnesium is also important for the buffering of vitamin C, which is extremely acidic, and you can make the vitamin C become buffered in oral suspension of a solution when magnesium is paired with calcium in a liquid form. The liver is not able to break down minerals, and the liver, as most of you should know, performs phase 1 and 2 of detoxification. So anything that is synthetic, or in the case as in minerals, the liver will not be able to break it down. So you want to consume magnesium in a liquid form. And your pulse of your heart should be between 60 to 100 beats per minute. And this is if a person is healthy. Obviously, that number range can fluctuate, give or take 1 or 2 beats depending on your activity. But when we measure pulse, we are looking at you as you are resting. The kidneys, again, are a channel of elimination, and they are assessed as far as their health by the things that are on this chart. So creatinine tests the function of the kidneys. The more muscle that a person has, the more creatinine that they will produce. And creatinine is a chemical waste product in the blood. So you don't need to go to source creatinine, which is going to be a synthetic form of it anyways, from certain stores when you are on a fitness regimen, because all you're doing is giving yourself a double dose of a chemical waste product. GFR refers to your glomerular filtration rate of your kidneys, and it measures how much blood passes through the filters in the kidneys each minute. Your BUN, or your blood urea nitrogen, measures how well kidneys remove urea from your blood. This measure can become extremely high or become raised if you have a heart disorder, if you are dehydrated on a regular basis, or if you have a high protein diet. Sodium and potassium. The sodium concentration ions are lower inside of the cells, where the potassium concentration ions are greater inside of cells. But both of them need to be balanced to be able to regulate the water balance in the body and the acid base balance in the tissues. So when you're an athlete or a person that has a routine of physical activity, you want to make sure you are watching your sodium and potassium levels, because they deal with water balance. They deal with the acidity and the alkalinity of your organ tissues. If the lungs and kidneys are not functioning, they will affect the heart. The kidneys can affect the heart, and the heart can affect the kidneys, because the kidneys wait on the heart for the rich blood. But if the kidneys are not balanced with their water, that water can end up on the heart and on the lungs. The lungs are to expel carbon dioxide from the blood, but if it doesn't do that, it's going to affect the heart. So all of these things are important, because again, there was no isolated incident when it comes to health issues. Also, there is a, current popular trend from the 1920s called the ketogenic diet. And a lot of people are beginning or have been using this diet in some form, but it was basically targeted at people who have type 2 diabetes, or people with certain heart issues, or people who are not able to lose weight. And so ketones are chemicals made by the liver. They are produced when there are insufficient levels of properly working insulin in the body, which is needed to convert sugar, real sugar, into a usable form of energy. The liver uses fat by converting it into ketones, which is acidic, and it sends it into the blood and tries to attempt to regulate your sugar. Ketones are water-soluble molecules, while sugars can be changed or converted into alcohol in the body. Both sugar and ketones are acidic. Ketosis is a normal part of metabolism, but can quickly become dangerous as ketoacidosis develops, which is a form of a poor diet. If you become acidic with your ketones, it is because your diet is poor. And that means you are eating food in an incompatible way. Many people have reported positive results with the ketogenic diet, and these results really are nothing more than symptom relief. A ketogenic diet does not correct the root cause of diabetes, weight gain issues, etc. Diabetes is a symptom of poor liver health, so in order to reverse type 2 diabetes, you must repair the liver. A ketogenic diet will not repair the liver for you. And diabetes has been on the rise for years, when the ketogenic diet has been around since the 1920s. I think it was in 1921 that it was discovered or began to be utilized or talked about. Not only diabetes has been on the rise, but many other illnesses, and there have been a plethora of different diet trends that have done nothing more than suppress the root cause of an illness, but provide relief for symptoms. And what my platform aims to do is reverse illnesses. It aims to correct issues, and you have the choice to go the regular traditional route of dealing with your health, or you can do it alternatively with herbs and plants. The choice is up to you, but you have to understand that you're always producing insulin. It's just that insulin cannot get inside of your beta cell receptors when they are clogged with acid and mucus in the first place. And that can only be reversed by first cleansing out your gallbladder and liver, and then again, changing your diet. That's why the sugar cannot be regulated. And you also have to remember that your pancreas is pretty much regenerating itself at a certain time of day. So if you're eating sugars or carbs or fruits or things like that, when your pancreas has not been fully regenerated, yes, you will have sugar left floating in your blood. So that's why it's important to not only eat compatible, but to cleanse and fast, and also time your meals appropriately. The liver produces bile, which aids in the digestion of lipids or fats, and is needed for the production of stools to remove waste from the body. If bile salts become toxic, they can be deposited into the gallbladder and cause gallstones and stagnation of waste to collect in the body, which is simply put, considered constipation. And constipation, believe it or not, is like the beginning of death. And so I've done podcasts about constipation. You can check out my podcast on Anchor. And it is Native Creations is the name for that podcast channel. So if you want to learn more about health, go to that podcast on Anchor. I also have other videos on this channel about the pancreas, about diabetes, about the kidneys and lungs, and even the heart. So if you want further information on what was presented here in this video today, please check out those videos and learn more. But the whole goal of this video was to let the unlearned know that exercise is not your one-size-fits-all answer for health issues. It is the reward that your body is to receive once you have dealt with your organs from food. And food must be real. It must be live food. Herbs are what give intelligence to the organs. And that can only come from herbs, not exercise. Exercise is to reinforce what you are doing to your body with food. So thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to this channel.